Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, that's a big news for the Ukrainians, and they claim, and I tend to believe them in this one, that they established a bridgehead across the Dnipro river in the Kherson area. So they are now on the left bank of the river, which shows me that, or should reveal the fact that they are getting ready for an offensive, at least in the south. Now, I'm going to tell you why I think that is, that could be, I'm not certain, it's just what they said, but I think that could be accurate representation of reality is because lately, if you remember from my updates, the Ukrainians kept shelling the southern part of the Ukrainian part where the Russians were in Kherson Oblast by the Crimean Peninsula. So let me just open up this little thing here and see if I can figure out things. Because this article comes from Business Insider, and as we know, Business Insider, they are a very, very trustworthy outlet. So here it is, the little article. So let's start reading it. It's from Business Insider. It is from Sunday, April 23rd, and 2023. Ukrainian troops have established a bridgehead on the east bank of the Dnipro River, implying Russia's defense positions are weakening, report says. So where is this little, they give us here a little map here, you see right here? It says the Ukrainian positions have been established north of Oleski, a town across the river from Kherson. Google Maps shows Trala. So here is Kherson. This is the Dnipro River, and the Ukrainians claim that this is where they established the bridgehead. And they show, not here, a picture, but it's not in this. It's a different picture where it's before you access this one. I can't access this that particular picture. But anyway, let me see here on the map where that might be. So here is Kherson right here, and this is the city of Kherson, and I'm going down here. Kherson is right here, and I think they are talking about this area here, because if I go on this, guys, and I look at the map, they call it Oleski, but probably the Russians is right in front of this little bridge. So if I go here, this is it, as by the Russians they call it Alyoski. They call it differently. So you see all these blue circles. This is from the Russian Sputnik, from the Russian update. These are Ukrainian shellings of Russian positions. So they've been doing this for the past, I think, 2 months. Whenever I was providing an update from Sputnik, this is from the 20th, this was like a constant. They were bombing here, we were shelling here across the Dnipro River. And now maybe they were capable of having the Russians, retreat, so they were able to come over here. I rarely saw, not rarely, see, these are attacks by the Russians in Ukraine and Ukrainian places, locations, whatever they destroyed. So that's why I'm thinking that could be possible, this little bridgehead, because, as I said, the Russians reported over the past 2 months, at least 2 months, these blue little circles were here all the time. So maybe the Ukrainians overwhelmed the Russian defenses are here. This is just a supposition. I'm not sure. But let's see what these guys are saying in this article, which obviously could be not true, but hey. Ukrainian troops have established positions on the east bank of the Dnipro River, the ISW reported. So it's IS, Institute of Study of War, reported that. Russia lost control of the city of Kherson in November, but still occupies the southern region. The news report, based on geolocated footage, suggests Russia's defensive positions are weakening. Ukrainian troops have established positions on the east bank of the Dnipro River, implying that Russia's defensive positions are weakening, the Institute for Study of War said. The Washington-based think tank, this is not an objective study, just so you know, the Institute of Study of War. I realized that last year, that in about May, maybe something like this, May 2022. I was citing it, and until they screwed up with one piece of information that I didn't have, and they were just were like wishful thinking. And I said, okay, you're not for study, and you're just something that the Ukrainians are using, so you guys can base your Business Insider articles. So the Washington-based think tank said that it is now marking the territory as Ukrainian held only after reviewing footage geolocated by Russian military bloggers and other reports about the Ukrainian presence. All right. The Ukrainian positions have been established north of Olesky, a town across the river from Kherson. Ukraine freed the city of Kherson from Russian control in November 2022, but large parts of Kherson Oblast on the other side of the river, as I showed here, this right here, this is the Oblast of Kherson, not the entire Kherson, just a big part of it. Let me show like this. This is Zaporozhye Oblast right here. So, still occupied. South of the Kherson region is Crimea, which Russia seized in 2014 through a referendum, we might add, done by the people. Right? I know it was stolen by the Russians, but any other referenda conducted by the United States is valid and perfect. Now, let's move on with BS. The new reports suggest a lack of Russian control of the area, as Russian military bloggers claim this week that Ukrainian forces had maintained positions on the east bank, have established stable supply lines, and are regularly conducting sorties in the area. Some of the military bloggers suggested that Ukrainian forces were able to land on the east bank because of the slow rate of Russian artillery fire, which could be very possible, which they blamed on the over-centralized of the Russian military command. Well, the Russians are, if you look on the map, focused on everything else. It's right here where they bombard, here's where they attack. Here, not much. And here are the Ukrainians. The Institute could not confirm the extent of the intentions of the Ukrainian positions. Military bloggers also suggested that Russia might not have control over some islands in the Kinka and Chaika rivers and some Dnipro Delta islands. Russian forces might be prioritizing maintaining defenses in urban areas such as Olesky and Nova Kakhovka, and have left the islands unmanned, the ISW said. A video posted online appears to show Ukrainian amphibious vehicles landing on the eastern bank of the Dnipro River and establishing a bridgehead. Well, okay, well, this is what this is what they reported. Okay, it's interesting. When you like what some bloggers that you don't like are saying, you immediately incorporate that in your reports. I guarantee you that if yesterday, let's say those bloggers, Russian bloggers, would have said that, hey, Kiev fell under the Russian boot, I guarantee you these guys would have not reported that. They would not say, hey, that's a lie. But anyway, I don't care. I'm just reporting here what these guys are saying. I'm inclined to say, yes, they probably are on the, most likely, are on the east bank. How far, how deep, I don't know. But they could probably be over there. As I said, the past 2 months, they bombarded out of that area. So maybe the Russians are there no more. Even though these guys are saying that the Russians occupy positions in the Oleksy, whatever town, across from Kherson. Well, it's okay. Sometimes you invite them in so you can slaughter them after you slam the door behind them. All right? You never know. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.